Okay, then next we'll discuss about motherboard expansion cards. So here these cards are different types. So we use these expansion cards to add performance and add improvement and compatibility to a system. So for example, using these expansion cards, we can add network cards, video cards, modems and audio cards. So it provides more functionality and more performance to a system. So motherboard expansion slots, so these are alternative known as bus slots or expansion port. So this slot is a connection or port inside the computer or that connect to the motherboard. So using this we can connect hardware expansion slots, and that means we can add hardware expansion cards to these slots. So now you have to do some research. You have to find why these expansion slots are important, and you have to find what is the most common expansion slot today. And does a laptop have an expansion card? So for this I'll give you the answer. So laptops do not have expansion slots like desktop computers, but the laptops do have the cards that can be inserted into the side of the laptop. So these are the expansion slots. So here we have some ISA slots, and this is the expansion card. So these we can add these expansion cards to these expansion slots. This is an interconnection between microprocessor and a device. So here these expansion slots provide space closely for high-speed operations. We normally use this PCI or peripheral component interconnect to connect with sound cards and network cards. So, but the modern computers normally use this USB or PCI Express, but some older computers slots, since the PCI slots are used in the older version, some desktop computers maybe now also they will include this PCI slots in the motherboard to maintain this backward compatibility. So using a PCI, a computer can support both new PCI cards and while continuing to support this ISA expansion card, it also can support these older standards. So this is how these PCI or PCI expansion slots are going to display in the motherboard. So we can connect with these things with the expansion cards. These are the slots. So then we have this AGP or accelerated graphic port. So this accelerated graphic port often abbreviated as AGP, and it is a standard type of connection for internal video cards. So this is how this AGP is going to display in a motherboard. And then we have this PCI Express, and you should know that PCI Express has replaced all these AGP, PCI and all these types of expansion slots. So now this PCI Express is considered as the standard internal interfaces. So now many motherboards today are manufactured only with these PCIe slots. So these PCI Express have high-speed expansion card format, and that connects the computer with its attached peripherals, and it is developed by this Internal Corp in 2004 to replace the PCI and PCI-X expansion buses along with this AGP graphics card interface. So this PCIe allows data managers to take advantage of network technologies like gigabit, Ethernet and RAID. So this is how these PCI Express cards are going to display. So here we can compare these versions of the sizes of PCI. So the PCI 1 is displayed as these 8, 4 and 16. And here this is a motherboard that contain both PCI expansion slots and PCIe expansion slots, and here you can see the difference between these two slots. And this is a comparison of PCI slots, PCIe slots, PCI slot and AGP slot. Okay, now you have some exercise to do. Give the answers for these examples. So give some examples for motherboard expansion cards, and what is the mention the usage of motherboard expansion slots, and you have to write down and describe the types of expansion slots.